They thought it would be an easy conquest, just another world on a long list of victories. 20,000 elite alien soldiers descended upon a blue-green planet, their maps labeled Necroverse 117. To them, it was just a number. To us, it was home. Within hours, the skies filled with screams, armor cracked, and nature itself began to feast. Lightning beasts, venomous nightmares, invisible microbes. It wasn't a war. It was survival. And when the dust settled, only one being crawled back to tell the galaxy what Earth really was. A death world. If you love stories where humans aren't the victims but the monsters of myth, you're in the right place. Stick around, hit that like button and subscribe, because this is more than just sci-fi. It's humanity's legend told through alien eyes. And trust me, by the end, you'll never look at Earth the same way again. The fleet glided through the dark like silent gods, 20 warships cutting across the void toward a small blue-green marble hanging in endless black. Commander Vextrail stared at it through the viewport, his 4 eyes narrowing. The humans called it Earth, his people called it Necroverse 117, a death world. He could feel the dread in his chest, a quiet whisper no soldier dared voice. High Admiral Zoltar had dismissed his warnings. A single battalion will suffice, the Admiral had said. 20,000 of their best. Vextrail had seen the data, the broken drones, the corrupted files, the faint echoes of something alive. Something watching. Still, orders were orders. When the ships broke atmosphere, fire licked across their hulls. Sensors screamed. The skies raged with storms thick enough to tear metal. Yet the Admiral's voice boomed over comms. Proceed with landing. Earth is no threat. The landing zone, a crimson wasteland humans once called Australia, burned under twin suns. Every gauge blinked red. Every breath tasted like poison. And as the first boots touched the ground, the silence felt wrong. Too still. Too quiet. Like the world itself was holding its breath, waiting to kill. The first scream broke through the comms like lightning through glass, then another, then hundreds. What began as formation drills dissolved into chaos as the planet itself seemed to awaken. From the trees came shapes, fast, twitching, impossible to track. A soldier fired into the brush. Nothing. Then his armor alarmed, temperature spike, biohazard detected, and he was gone, dragged beneath the earth by something unseen. Leech-like things rained from branches. Giant lizards exploded from the water's edge. Even the air carried invisible killers, microbes that tore through filters as if laughing at their technology. Plasma rifles flashed, but every shot hit more dust than target. Captain Rexnav shouted for order, but the ground collapsed beneath his squad, an ant nest the size of a city, its walls crawling with teeth. This wasn't a war. It was a feeding. 6 hours in, 3,000 soldiers were gone, 20,000 hearts had marched onto Earth, and the planet had swallowed them whole. Commander Vextrail could only watch the life signs vanish from his display one by one, until the screen looked like a night sky with its stars snuffed out. By the 7th hour, the surviving platoon had barricaded themselves behind the wreckage of a transport ship. Armor scorched, oxygen low, eyes wide with something close to despair. Then, through the smoke, a figure appeared, not an alien beast, not another soldier, a man. He walked slowly, boots crunching over the ash. His clothes were torn, sun-faded, a can of something steaming in his hand. Coffee. "G'day," he said casually, as if greeting neighbors over a fence. "You folks look lost." The alien rifles snapped up. The man didn't flinch, just smiled. "You came all this way to invade," he said, raising an eyebrow, "and you started with Australia." Even through the translator static, the sarcasm cut deep. He told them about box jellyfish, stonefish and spiders that hid in boots, about summer heat that could melt steel. His tone was almost pitying. When he mentioned drop bears, one alien laughed nervously, until the trees above them rustled. Commander Vextrail watched the man sip his drink, calm amid the chaos, and felt something strange. Fear. Yes, but also respect. This was no primitive. This was a native of the galaxy's deadliest planet, and he was still smiling. By the 9th hour, it was over. Not because the battle was won, but because there was no one left to fight. Floods ripped through their final position, sweeping bodies and armor alike into a churning brown sea. Lightning cracked across the horizon, igniting oxygen lines like veins of fire. The fleet above listened helplessly as Vextrail's voice broke through the static. Extraction. Now. But Admiral Zoltar's reply came, cold and final. Failure is not an option. Another 1,000 died before the transports could even lift off. When the commander's crippled ship finally escaped the atmosphere, it carried only ghosts. 20,000 sent, one survivor returning. Back aboard the flagship, Vextrail stood before the council. His voice trembled with rage and grief as he played back the footage, the storms, the creatures, the microorganisms blooming inside their filters. The silence that followed was heavier than gravity. And then his final witness stepped forward, Mick, the human, dressed in plain clothes, utterly unimpressed by the grandeur of the galactic chamber. "If you're thinking of coming back," he said, his voice echoing across 100 systems, "don't. I'm trying to save your lives." The council chamber sat in stunned silence. For the first time, they feared a planet. Not for its armies, but for its ecosystem. Earth was immediately reclassified, Class X, Deathworld. No contact, no landings, permanent quarantine. But Commander Vextrail wasn't satisfied with silence. As his ship drifted in orbit, he found himself staring once more at that blue-green marble, deadly, beautiful, alive. "Why do you stay?" he asked the human beside him. Mick smiled, eyes warm beneath the scars. "Because it's home, mate. For all its danger, it's still worth living for." Something in those words struck deeper than any plasma round. Vextrail, the warrior who had lost everything, nodded slowly. In the official warning beacons he deployed around Earth, he added one secret line: "Home to 8 billion survivors. Respect them." Months later, a crude human signal pierced the void. Mick's voice crackled through static. "Commander, fancy a trade? Knowledge for knowledge, no landing required." Vextrail smiled. "Message received, friend. Stand by." For the first time he felt it. Hope. Two civilizations separated by death, united by respect. So next time you look up at the night sky, remember, out there entire empires whisper the same word with awe and fear. Earth, a world that kills the unprepared but breeds the unbreakable. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because somewhere in a distant galaxy, even aliens tell stories about us, humans, the survivors of the death world.